What's going on, everyone, and welcome into Expected Bets for your go-to podcast for all things hockey betting. I am Gator Betting, joined by my two co-hosts today, Gretzky Betskis and Franco the Banker. Guys, we are in the Metropolitan Division. We are on our fourth team right now, which leads us to the New York Islanders. And I know, just like the Seattle Kraken, we have been salivating at getting to talk about this exciting team.
Yep.
So with that being said, let's get into it. Last season, they had 82 points, finished with a record of 35, 35, and 12, finished sixth in the Metropolitan and missed the playoffs. Betsky, I'm going to start with you. Made a few offseason additions, bring in Druin, new GM in town, but they lose Dobson, which I think is a key piece in that one. Lamoriello is the GM fired, but let's start with your initial opinions on this team.
I mean, this is a team that is at the beginning of a rebuild. It's hard to say if this is going to be a true to the studs rebuild or more of a retool, though. And unfortunately, the Islanders' lotto luck may have already been used up because they won the first overall pick lottery last season, despite being 12th worst or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I think 11th.
Moving up 11th worst.
Yeah, moving
up 11 spots. And they got quite the prospect in Matthew Schaefer, who has a chance to make the team this year. Even though we've seen with 18-year-old defensemen, their impacts immediately and need to be a little bit tampered. I mean, we saw this with Rasmus Dahlin, who was probably the last first overall pick, who was a defenseman, right?
Oh, and Power.
And then, Power. You guys had two. Yeah. I mean, well, both are great examples from the same team. Sorry.
Great episode, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Florida took a minute to get going, so I would not expect this to have like a Connor Bedard impact, and he's not even on like the same caliber of that type of prospect, or even on the Dahlin prospect. This is probably a guy who has a higher ceiling and higher floor than Power, probably around where Aaron Ekblad was hyped up to be way back when in 2014. But when I look at this core, I'm not totally sure that you're going to keep on ripping this up too much. I mean, Horvat is potentially a trade piece. Barzal's name got thrown around on draft day. Romanov could entice some teams, maybe even Pollock. But are you really moving franchise level players like Sorokin or not? And I think this is going to be an interesting year to see what the new GM does and how willing he is to either gut the team or start kind of retooling around this team. So I don't think they're going to be good, and I don't think they're going to be outright miserable. And so it's kind of a tough one to gauge, because there is always that chance that, somebody gets injured and enough's enough, and they pull the cord and start really digging deep here. I think they have a lot of pieces that contenders would love to have. I mean, Horvat as a 2C for Toronto. Oof. Romanov on pretty much any playoff bound team would look fantastic, same as Pollock. But I mean, an upgrade at goaltending to Sorokin for someone, but the price will have to be right. They'll have to be able to fit cap space. A lot of these guys are on long contracts. It's going to be really interesting. This is a team that's definitely at a crossroads. And do they want to potentially go down the path the Blackhawks did, where you're moving guys who could probably be helping out Bedard right now when some of these top prospects start coming in, or do you want to try to move some of the aging pieces out that aren't going to be as impactful to the roster and try to retool around it?
Yeah, I thought the acquisition of Drouin was pretty interesting for this team, kind of given where they are. They extended Palmieri in the offseason, but you're right. It's a tough situation, especially to bring in a new GM for this team that they're not in a great position cap-wise. And they do have a lot of kind of franchise-altering decisions to make in the next 2 to 3 years, especially with this aging core. They have young guys coming in, but again, I think in the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be a wait and see period for them to really determine how they want to kind of attack this roster. Franco, the loss of Dobson's obviously huge. I think Montreal looks really good this season, but we're going to get to them in a bit. Duclair did have some injury issues last year. I thought he clicked with his team for a little bit while he was healthy. Barzal had injury issues. There's just a lot of question marks with this team. And so just like Betsky, kind of what is your expectations for this team this season?
I'll give you a little bit more of a positive outlook. I won't go full bad like Betsky did here. I will say, again, this is kind of like a few of the other teams we talked about that kind of stayed mostly the same, right? Like, obviously, Dobson's a big loss. Schaefer's going to have to kind of step in and play a role. But overall, like, this blue line looks okay still, even with the loss of Dobson. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty sound as far as, like, your defensive defensemen and your puck movers. I think the biggest question mark for me with those guys in particular is health. I mean, Pelech, Pulock, and Mayfield all missed a ton of time last year. Can they stay healthy? If they do, this blue line looks okay. This can still be that same team that, like, is on the fringe of a playoff spot. Not fun to bet on for our purposes, but, like, they're a team that just kind of, like, ekes out wins, grinds out wins, playing a good defensive brand of hockey. You have a good goaltender still in Sorokin. So, and in reality, like, we've seen worse center depth as far as teams go. Like this center depth doesn't look bad. Now, again, if they move on from players and stuff or have injuries, that's a different story. But, like, Barzal's missed a ton of time. Duclair, like you said, has missed time last year. But when you really, like, look at the pieces here, yeah, it's not, like, flashy, and you're not like, oh my god, like, this team is going to score a ton of goals. But, like, that top six can score. Duclair's on the third line wing with Pajot. Like, they bring in Shabanov, who I wanted the Flyers to get. I was watching a lot of, footage on him and seeing a lot of stuff. Now, I don't know if his game translates to the NHL. He's very small, but he's like a Barzal. Like, he's a smaller guy that can skate, or at least skate decently and make plays and kind of make stuff happen when the puck's on his stick. So you add another player like that, maybe like a Barzal light, so to speak, to this team. You add Drouin and his speed. He looked pretty damn good in Colorado when he was healthy. He's another big health question mark, of course. I don't know. I don't think this looks that bad. Like, the top nine overall, like, as long as they get the production and health from them, it's going to be in that same range as they've been kind of the last few years, where it's like, yeah, they're fighting for that wild card spot and they might make it. We're not going to be happy betting them. We're not going to be betting on them in the playoffs, but it's just that kind of boring consistency, I guess we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, this team doesn't look bad, and I don't want Islanders fans to be like, oh, like, doom and gloom. It's not doom and gloom. It's just that middle purgatory of, do you think this team can win a Stanley Cup? My answer is obviously no. I think if everything goes right with this team, Sorokin plays terrific and they stay healthy, yeah, I think they could challenge for a playoff spot. But do I think that they're really going to make a run this year? No. And it's not to say that this team is terrible and that they need to completely overhaul everything. It's just one of those weird situations with our favorite other team, Calgary Flames, of that there's just no hope for a Stanley Cup with this team. And I know that may be tough to hear for Islanders fans, but they're just not a serious contender this season.
No,
yeah,
not at all.
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, like, you're talking best case with this team, you win a playoff series. It's
best
that
case.
It's that rough. I'm saying best case. If everything breaks, everybody stays healthy, and like, I'm a Flyers fan. This was like what we were in for, like, years and years in the late 2000s. Like, it was just, they always made the playoffs, but I never felt like they could challenge. And it's like a frustration as a fan to be a fan of a team like that, because, ticket prices will still continue to go up because you're still winning. Like,
Yep.
yet, like, you never can feel that sense of like excitement, true excitement, you know, like that, like, oh man, we got, you know, maybe Schaefer brings a little bit of that, but he's still not like, you know, a first line center, goal scoring, you know, type of guy. You would hope that you win that lotto, you know, next year's lotto, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with it. And like you guys said, it's like you feel bad for the fans because we're not trashing on your team. It's just that they're stuck in like a state of kind of purgatory.
Yeah. Looking at some team futures for the Islanders, they finished with 82 points last season. Their team total this year is at 83.5 on the low end on DraftKings, 84.5 on FanDuel to make the playoffs at plus 240. They're currently in that 5th spot based on odds in the Metropolitan Division. Carolina, New Jersey, Washington, New York Rangers are all at minus money to make the playoffs. The only future I would consider with this team is maybe looking at their regular season points. If they do stay healthy, if Sorokin kind of gets back into form, 83.5, they win one more game than last year. That would be the only future that I think, team future wise, that we would even have a debate about. Betsy,
I can't even do that. I mean, I'll take the under any day.
Okay.
I mean, you lost your top defenseman.
Yeah. Franco, are you playing devil's advocate
will
again?
have to play out of his mind to get 85 points in my mind.
I'll take the over.
You'll take the over?
Yeah.
They win
So
one more
I think
game.
this is the worst out of the mushy middle teams in the East.
So here's my thinking, though, right? Like we talked about Columbus a couple of days ago and how everything kind of broke right for them last year. They finished with 89 points. They were just that run was just ridiculous. That, you know, do we really expect that again? I'm expecting the Penguins to be like a team that fully sells off to just go all in on McKenna. So like they finished with 80 points last year. I'm expecting them to be way worse. You know, obviously the Rangers should in theory be a little bit better. But again, I think we're expecting regression from the Caps too. So if we're talking about a team that had 82 points last year, and like I said, a ton of injuries, Duclair missing, Pulock, Barzal, if they can just get a little bit of injury goodness back, maybe just a little bit more luck, like you said, it's one more game. I didn't think they were good by any stretch last year, and they were missing all those pieces. So I don't think it's that crazy to look at an over here. Now, I wouldn't take their playoff bet or anything like that because I think that best case we're looking at 3 teams from this division, maybe 4, but I don't see them being that one, but I think they'll be able to finish.
Game 1, you're down one of your best 3 players, and he's not going to come back this season. He's not ever coming back. So, like, stepping on the ice game 1, you already are out of the top defenseman you had last season.
Yeah. Dobson missed time too last year, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
I get it. Like
I also
missing a top
digging deeper is
like that.
too much for me to take an over on the team totals.
In terms of confidence, Betsy, for the under, what's your percentage at? Would you bet this? Let's start there. Would you bet this? Yes or no?
Man. Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
Okay. All right. I love it. All right. Franco, would you bet the over?
I think I would. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty close. I don't think they're not going to get 97 points or something like that.
No.
I think we're right on the cusp here, but if you had to pin me to one, I would probably go towards the over. I just think they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the wire in April.
How soon into the season do you move Horvat if you're getting offered a first in this deep of a draft?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends. I would really have to look at like who the buyers are going to be and their cap space.
Toronto.
Do they have cap space though? I can't imagine them having that much space to be able to add a Horvat. Like, I feel like it's too much. They're always adding those middling pieces on, especially on the blue line, because they don't have enough money. I understand they lost Marner.
Yeah, but they have $2 million in cap.
Yeah, see, like, how do you fit that? That's the problem. Like, you need to find a taker, and any other team is on the fringe of like a wild card spot. Like, how much incentive do they have to push if they are between making the playoffs and getting booted immediately, like Jersey did last year, or being on the sweepstakes for McKenna?
Jersey has like 5.2. I don't know where Horvat fits necessarily.
Yeah, it would be weird.
Barzal would be kind of interesting there.
In terms of player futures, I have nothing. Betsky, I know you untouchable. Franco.
Yeah.
I guess Shabana for Calder at 25-1. That's the only one you're really considering.
Or Schaefer. I mean, but again, I feel like it's difficult. It's difficult for a defenseman to get one. I don't know. And like I said, guys like Barzal, you could look at point totals and stuff, but the injury concerns are just always in the back of your head. So like maybe you look at a Barzal under and think that injuries could be something at play there. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is more of a team that has kind of more depth scoring and stuff like that. So I'm not really excited about looking at overs for anything there.
Sorokin at 25.5 wins this season. He had 30 last year, 25 the year prior, and then 31 the year before that. That's one that I would consider, because with Riddick now backing him up, I don't believe Riddick's going to play a ton of games. I think they're going to ride Sorokin. I think Sorokin, what do you have? Played 61 games last year, 54 the year before that, and then 62 the year before that. If he stays healthy, I think he hits this. I'll be honest. I think 25 is a low number for this team when they had 35 wins last year.
I agree. I don't see them splitting as much as they were doing last year.
No, I think that's what I would bet is Sorokin at over 25 wins purely on the number of games played. Any other bets for the New York Islanders? We talked about them more than I expected. Betsky, Franco, any other bets?
The Islanders only have 1.6 million cap space.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the pieces they have. They have all these vets that are big contracts. It's crazy.
Gosh. I mean, that actually makes things trickier because it'll limit what they can bring back. Or
because they can't, and they're not going to be able to eat. They're not going to be able to eat the cap for players and stuff like some teams can. I'm telling you, this reminds me of the Flyers years back. They had all these old guys that just nobody wanted. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening to this episode of Expected Bets 4. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and like this video if you haven't already. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Expected Bets 4. Once more, we appreciate you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.